Yes, sir. Thank you for joining me. So imagine this. One day, someone comes along, looks at your family history, and says, nope, you're not who you think you are. Suddenly, everything changes. Your rights, your land, even your identity. That's the story of the Native American reclassification in the United States. Today, we're uncovering how reclassification erased the identities of many Native tribes, its economic and cultural impacts, and how some communities are fighting to reclaim their stories. Buckle up, because history just got personal. Let's start with the basics. Reclassification was a systematic effort to erase Native American identities by labeling them as Black, Negro, or colored on official documents like census records and the Dawes Rolls. This wasn't just a bureaucratic error, it was deliberate. Reclassification undermined Native sovereignty, stripped tribes of land rights, and lumped them into categories that excluded them from legal protections granted to Native Americans under treaties. The economic impact was massive. Land was the key to wealth, and by reclassifying people, the government made it easier to take that land and redistribute it, often to European settlers. The cultural impact, devastating. Reclassification meant severing ties to traditions, languages, and tribal connections. The Dawes Act of 1887 explained. Now let's talk about the Dawes Rolls. Created under the Dawes Act of 1887, the Dawes Act aimed to divide communal native land into individual plots to promote assimilation. To get land, you had to prove you were native. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. The process was riddled with corruption and bias. Many full-blooded natives were excluded, while others, like the Cherokee freedmen, descendants of African Americans who were enslaved by the Cherokee, were added to the rolls, but then denied full tribal membership. This led to decades-long disputes over who qualifies as Cherokee and who has access to the tribal benefits. It's not just about identity, it's about land, money, and political power.
Cube, why are you putting Native Americans in here? Why isn't this just for Black people?
Well, Black people are Native Americans. We've had, a lot of proof that, some of us started here in this land. Everybody wasn't brought over from Africa. So, we have to, like you say, unpack all of that and try to, find the true lineage of people in this country.
Reclassification didn't happen in isolation either. Let's look at some tribes that were directly impacted. The Houma tribe down in Louisiana, for example. The Houma tribe was recognized by the state of Louisiana in 1977, but has not received federal recognition to this day. In Louisiana, the Houma people were labeled as colored or Black, erasing their native identity. This denied them federal recognition for decades, making it harder to protect their land and culture. Today, the Houma fight to preserve their language and traditions despite ongoing challenges. But due to assimilation, and right now, integration, good luck. Number 2, the Gullah Geechee. The Gullah Geechee, known for their vibrant culture, often have a native ancestry through tribes like the Creek and the Seminole. But reclassification and systematic racism erased much of their native identity, impacting their land ownership and cultural preservation. Shout out to my Carolinas. Number 3, the Lumbee tribe. The Lumbee tribe of North Carolina has been fighting for federal recognition for over a century. They were labeled as Croatan, colored, and later the Lumbee, a name tied to the Lumber River. But reclassification complicated their ability to claim land and federal resources, leaving them in limbo. In 2025, President Donald Trump, your president, federally recognized the Lumbee tribe. Salute.
Sir, we have a presidential memorandum encouraging departments and agencies in your government, including the Department of the Interior, to promote federal recognition of the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina.
I love the Lumbee tribe. So this is their first big step, right?
This would be a huge step for them, sir.
Yeah, they were with me all the way. They were great. North Carolina, Lumbee tribe. Okay, you'll send them a copy of that?
Yes, sir.
They were great. Okay?
If you'd like, I could get them that pen, sir, as well.
Yeah, let's do that.
Number 4, the Shinnecock Nation. Shout out to my New Yorkers. In New York, the Shinnecock Nation faced reclassification as black, which undermined their land claims. Today, they continue to fight for recognition and protection of their ancestral land from encroaching development. Number 5, the Black Seminoles, down there in Florida and beyond.
John Horse and the Black Seminoles deserve to be remembered for a number of reasons. They created the largest haven in the U.S. South for runaway slaves. They led the largest slave revolt in U.S. history. They secured the only emancipation of rebellious slaves prior to the U.S. Civil War, and they formed the largest mass exodus of slaves across the United States, moving from the Florida Everglades through Indian Territory, what would become Oklahoma.
The Black Seminoles were descendants of escaped foundational Black American slaves and Seminole Native Americans. They faced double the discrimination. Their mixed ancestry made them targets for reclassification, denying them rights as both natives and Black Americans.
Seminoles were forced out of Florida in the 1830s. They traveled together hundreds and hundreds of miles by boat and on foot, passing through this barren place on the banks of the Arkansas River all the way to Oklahoma. It was a long and difficult journey, referred to as their Trail of Tears for the many who died along the way. Now, nearly 200 years later, comes the $56 million payment from the federal government to compensate the tribe for those lost Florida lands. But the Black Seminoles can't share in it because the government and the tribe say they were slaves of the Red Seminoles back then, and as slaves could not have owned land.
Number 6, the Powhatan Confederacy, down there in Virginia. Virginia's Powhatan people were systematically reclassified as black or mulatto under the Racial Integrity Act of 1924. This act aimed to erase Native identity entirely, leaving descendants struggling to reconnect with their heritage. Number 7, the Catawba people, again to the Carolinas.
The Catawba Indian Nation Lands Act clarifies that the Catawba Indian Nation is subject to the well-established rules and regulations of the Indian Game and Regulatory Act on their modern and ancestral lands in the state of North Carolina. This legislation will clarify the tribe's 1993 Land Claims Settlement Act and reaffirm recent action taken by the Department of Interior to take land into trust for the tribe. Most importantly, this bipartisan legislation is a very significant step towards rectifying historic injustices that have been perpetrated against the Catawba Indian Nation. Like in many other instances of current effects of historical inequities, the Catawba Nation experiences high unemployment and poverty rates, causing many of its citizens to rely upon federal and state governments for basic social service. The enactment of this legislation is critical to helping the Catawba Indian Nation secure economic self-sufficiency as Congress originally intended when it passed the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act of 1988.
Now, despite being federally recognized today, the Catawba tribe faced reclassification that reduced their land base and forced many to assimilate. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, why is this important? Well, I'm glad you asked. Land is wealth, and losing land through reclassification didn't just affect one generation. It impacted entire family trees. Land is how you build generational wealth, start businesses, and pass something down to your children. Culturally, reclassification cut people off from their traditions. Languages were lost, ceremonies forgotten, and tribal connections severed. Imagine having your family's entire history erased. It's like tearing out the roots from the tree. But it's not too late to take action. Here's what individuals and communities can do. Number one, research your ancestry. Dive into your records, tribal roles, and oral histories to uncover your heritage. Number two, push for federal recognition. Support tribes who are still fighting for recognition, like the Homa, who we mentioned earlier. Number three, reclaim land. Work with legal experts to investigate land claims tied to your ancestry. So the next time a black person looks at you and says, I have Native American ancestry and my people were here since before Christopher Columbus, I wouldn't be so quick to laugh. But hey, that's just what I think. If you've gotten any value from watching the video today, support the channel by hitting the thumbs up button. It's free and it boosts us in the algorithm so our message can reach a broader audience. Also, if you haven't done so already, smash the subscribe button for more content just like this. And by the way, guys, check out the links in the description. I'm a new author and my book is open to the public for free for the next 30 days. The Chronicles of Big Mistake is available on Amazon now. Also, if you want to support black attorneys, I'm looking to go back to law school. So you can check out the links in the description to get more information on how you can support myself and Fried Time Media. That being said, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. So you made it all the way to the end of the video, but you haven't hit the like button yet. Come on now, you're cheating me, you're cheating yourself. Go ahead, hit the like button. And while you're at it, you might as well smash the subscribe button so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. I make a video every day, a different topic, a different subject. They're all interesting, so you can check them all out by hitting the subscribe button and setting your notifications to all so you get an alert when I drop a video. There you go.